the Amalgamation, Korey Konstantine. Oh, he misses the ripcord clothesline. Oh, Konstantine. Oh, he's caught. He's caught. Wait a minute. He's got him. He's got him over. He's gone. He's gone. He's eliminated. He's done it. Konstantine has done it! Konstantine, the Amalgamation, call him what you will, but you will call him the winner of Super Gold Rumble 4. You will call him the new #1 contender for the PW225 Heavyweight Championship.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spenser.
I'm Landon.
And I'm Korey Konstantine, the Amalgamation.
How about that?
Holy shit.
Yeah. Are you excited about this, Landon?
I am totally freaking out right now.
Yeah. For the first time, we have a special surprise for you guys out there. We have Korey Konstantine here with us today. He is in a huge championship match for Pro Wrestling 225 after winning the Super Gold Rumble back in January. So, Korey, listen, thanks so much for joining us. We cannot wait to see you in that main event of March Madness. It's going to be March 1st for Pro Wrestling 225. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? You know, who is Korey Konstantine, and how did you end up in Pro Wrestling 225?
Korey Konstantine is a very complex character. Some might say multiple personalities. Some might say unstable, unhinged. All of the above are correct. Essentially, you know, you have different facets of me, just like you would other people. Maybe mine are just dialed up a bit more. So probably what you're most familiar with is going to be, you know, the face painted version, right? The crazy, the unhinged version. So that's definitely one aspect. Where did all of this stem from? If we're just going to be legit, honestly, a lot of this was spawned out of depression, of being told I wouldn't amount to anything in this business, that everything I did sucked. Which really kind of put me down in a hole to where I didn't really care anymore. I felt like I had nothing to lose, and I just started doing whatever I wanted rather than what the traditional cookie cutter stuff was at the time. And, you know, kind of just caught fire from there.
Well, listen, that, first of all, it makes total sense because it kind of lends to the fact that, because we've been there. We've been to the PW225 shows, and when you go out there, the crowd unapologetically adores you, right? And I think it's because you have a story I think that in some ways people can relate to. You know, that sort of down and out, but coming back from it, being whoever you want to be, is something that people really like to cheer for. But you mentioned your look, right? You mentioned that face paint, that sort of unhinged character that we can see sometimes out of Korey Konstantine. That's obviously one of the most striking things about seeing you live in person. Where did that kind of start with the face paint, with the whole look? Where did you get that idea from?
So it started out kind of in its infancy. Was honestly before shows, I would just take a bunch of different colors. I would dip my fingers into them, and then I just kind of, you know, make different patterns on my face. And then it kind of evolved from there to now, if you want to think of it almost like a war paint. So I'll tie it in some kind of way to whoever the opponent is that night. So, you know, like Purple Haze, I had like purple and white diamonds with, you know, green hair and a, you know, jacked up smile. I worked Steve Anthony. I put a bunch of exclamation points all over my face on one side, and then the Spartan mask on the other side. So everything kind of ties in one way or another. Now, as far as like the most recent, the Rhett thing, that wasn't necessarily tied to him as much as it was, Super Gold Rumble. So, kind of went with more of the yellow, the gold, and that kind of stuff with it. But usually I try to tie it into the event or the opponent some kind of way. Just an outlet for me, really. I guess if you want to, call it influence, Jeff Hardy is probably the first person who really caught my attention when I was, 10, 11 years old. And then as he progressed and he started with the face paint, kind of spun off of that, and I kind of take it my own direction.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, I think, is someone who was super unique. He had that charismatic enigma tagline with him, and that's something that I think you bring to PW225. And listen, guys, if you haven't seen Korey Konstantine in person, or you don't know the look that we're talking about, definitely follow him on Instagram at Korey Konstantine, and we'll drop it below in the show notes so you can go follow him on Instagram, because you'll be really, really impressed, not only with his style and how he looks and how he ties that into all of his matches, but you'll be able to see how he has got himself ready to go for this March Madness match. So I do want to go there with you. You won the Super Gold Rumble in January, right, at Super Gold 4, and now that has earned you a championship match. When you won the Super Gold Rumble, what did that take to earn yourself that championship opportunity? Was that something that you felt like you had earned and worked really, really hard for, or was it right place, right time? How were you feeling about that?
When you go into those kind of matches, it has to be a little bit of everything. You have to know that you deserve, and you deserve to be there. Obviously right place, right time comes down to, Trucker Jones was about to, power bomb me out of the ring, and I just was able to, check my surroundings and all that, and turn into a Hurricane Run and get him out. So, it all comes into it, but a lot of it is just tenacity. A lot of it, you're going into a slugfest. There's not a whole lot of slams and movement as much as that's a lot of punching and kicking. So it's just staying tough and really trying to hold on as hard as you can, so prepping for that, I would do a lot of just hanging from, a pull-up bar and stuff like that, and deadlifts, just trying to work up the grip strength to make sure I could hold on.
No, absolutely. We talked a little bit about Mad Dog Gil Gracie, longest reigning PW225 heavyweight champion in history. He's been in the ring with a man like Dan Severn. What's your strategy going into a match against someone like him?
You really, there's the keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer tagline, right? So, just kind of reviewing his style, his matches. He's a legit shooter. He's got a jiu-jitsu background. He's a badass. Let's call it what it is. But just like Steve Anthony is the exclamation point, maybe we call Gil Gracie the asterisk. What is he without big ramp? That's something that I'm going to keep my eye out for, and I'm going to have to isolate ramp, because far too many times he's cost other people the opportunity to take that title away from Gil. So we'll call him the asterisk for now.
Do you think that you have something different that for the last year plus hasn't been able to be done? Do you have what it's going to take to isolate big ramp and take the strap off of Gil Gracie? I mean, I love that you call him the asterisk. I think that's perfect, because we've been there and we've seen it time and time again where a big ramp has cost anyone and everyone a shot at that title. What are you going to do differently that can assure that won't happen?
Gotta keep eyes in the back of your head, right? I mean, so when I think that I'm going to have the advantage and things like that, unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of split my attention, whenever I'm up and up and trying to put them away. That's something I'm going to have to watch out for. Outside of that, I mean, Gil likes to put people away with either that loaded elbow pad or the loaded elbow pad, coming from the top rope. So when he's in the air, he's vulnerable. He's not on his feet anymore. So, maybe that might be the right opportunity for me to strike and take advantage there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we cannot wait for the big match. We're going to be there cheering you on front and center for your well-deserved championship match. We really can't wait to see it.
The good news is that if you haven't seen this match, PW225 did a really, really great thing, and they actually uploaded all of Super Gold 4 online. So I think it's on YouTube. It's on their Facebook page. So if you want to go see Korey Konstantine and his incredible win and Super Gold Rumble, you can absolutely find it there. Korey, I know I mentioned your Instagram earlier. Is there any other place that people can follow you at? Twitter, Facebook, anything like that?
Yeah, so Facebook, just find me, Korey Konstantine, KoreyKonstantine. Long name, but even better, images, content, things like that. Outside of that, Instagram, same thing, at Korey Konstantine. Twitter's being revised right now, but I'm very active on Instagram, probably more than anything else. So if you want the good stuff, that's where you'll check me out at.
Perfect. And we'll definitely drop that below in our show notes so that you guys can find Korey Konstantine, because it's really, really cool stuff to see. But to Landon's point, yeah, we will absolutely be there for March Madness. It's going to be really, really awesome. We can't wait to see you to go after Gil Gracie. But I know it could be thought that this is maybe the most important match in your career so far. What would you say as far as getting you into wrestling and as far as building you up? What match do you think is the most influential that you had growing up into this business?
So I can recall very vividly two matches. So one of which was Austin and Rock. I think it was WrestleMania 17. But the one that really, really sticks with me was, Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker and that ladder match on Raw. I think it was 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. JR's calls on that match was on point. I mean, they stand the test of time to this day. Climb the ladder, kid, make yourself famous. And, then probably the biggest thing was, Jeff Hardy took a big time ass kicking throughout that entire match. And at the end of it, he stands up and he says, Taker, you haven't broken me. I'm still standing. And then Taker comes back and looks like he's about to just lay him out, raises his hand, and the rest is history. Jeff Hardy was made from that day forward. But just that, and how he just refused to die and stay down was, that was just the biggest thing for me, because like I said before, just being a huge Jeff Hardy fan growing up, and that was his first, real world title opportunity was, man. And it was on cable TV. Come on, you can't beat that.
Insane. Yeah, I think it could be argued that could be one of the best matches in Monday Night Raw history.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't beat a ladder match on free cable TV. That's just good stuff.
Correct.
You're absolutely right, though. It was July 2002, so you're spot on there. And I actually see some similarities. I know with the Mad Dog Gil Gracie, it's not a ladder match, but I do see some sort of similarities here as far as someone that's proven as champion. The Undertaker was very proven as the WWE champion at the time. Gil Gracie obviously has been successful for over a year with that championship. And Jeff Hardy was made in that match, but he was someone that was scrappy and someone that was going after the Undertaker in a way that he wasn't used to. Do you draw any comparisons to that matchup with Mad Dog?
I hadn't thought of it, but I think you're pretty much spot on there. You're damn near going to have to make my heart stop beating to beat me this time. I've worked way too hard from this. If you really want to know the full story, the full circle, if you want to call it a redemption story. March 2017, I blew out both of my knees simultaneously. I was in a wheelchair for months. Took me over a year to recover and get back in the ring. Since then, I've had high ankle sprains, torn pecs, fractured heel, just about everything you can imagine, concussion, and I'm still here. I'm still climbing, and I'm still scrapping. So if all of that didn't stop me, Gil's got his work cut out for him, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, the drawing comparisons between the ladder match from Monday Night Raw and your meteoric climb in Pro Wrestling 225 is easy to do. The match that we were talking about here is designed to make the crowd fall in love with Jeff Hardy. And there wasn't a person watching that match that wasn't completely behind him and completely convinced that he could win that match. And I think that's what the fans feel for Korey Konstantine at this moment. I think it's time.
I can only hope so, man. That for probably once in my life, I felt overwhelmed, positively in the ring after winning that Super Gold Rumble. You know, I wasn't expecting all the streamers to come flying in. Definitely wasn't expecting the crowd to be so excited, you know, that I won, and just hearing them really get behind me really over the course of the night. And I mean, if I look back on it, you know, since months past, whether I was doing dastardly deeds or, you know, kissing babies, it didn't really matter. They were still there. And for all of that to come full circle it's surreal. You know, I've only wanted this since I've been 10 years old. So it's a dream come true at this point.
We could not be more proud or more inspired by your story, and we can't wait for March Madness.
Don't be surprised, Korey, if while you're very much in the zone, you won't even notice. But there's a very real chance that you'll hear someone that will probably sound like me yelling from the crowd, "Go ahead, kid, make yourself famous."
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Oh, it's happening. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
You're gonna pop me in the middle of the match.
No corpsing in there.
Yeah.
So listen, our podcast is Last Match Standing, and on Last Match Standing, we relive, review, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. So I thought it would be fun to share with you our current top 10 matches that we have ranked. And Korey, this is the most difficult thing that we have ever done. It's so hard to put up matches like Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat up against Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate. Like, how do you rank that, right? Like, I don't know what we were thinking, but we've done it. We are 29 episodes in as of this recording, and it's been a whirlwind. So currently, our number 10 match on the list is John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. Similarly to the match that we were talking about earlier, the Jeff Hardy Undertaker match, this was on Raw, and it was right up there with the Jeff Hardy and Undertaker's being known as one of the greatest Raw matches in history. It sits at number 10 right now. Number 9 is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels from TNA Unbreakable 2005.
Yes.
Right? 2005?
Yeah, 2005.
You remember that match, Korey?
Oh yeah. I've watched it a few times.
It's insane. It's kind of that fast-paced, nonstop kind of deal. Number 8, we have the legendary Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio from Halloween Havoc 97. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's already difficult. It's just too much.
Number 7, we have kind of a sleeper at number 7.
Yeah.
A lot of people maybe don't think of this match.
A lot of people have never seen it.
Never even seen it. It's the inaugural X Division Fatal 4-Way to crown the first ever X Division champion from NWA TNA 2002 for episode number 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
Man, it's Psychosis, Low Key, Jerry Lynn, and AJ Styles. So I can't possibly surprise you that it's that it's ranked up here with those names in it.
No, yeah, I mean every single one of those are top notch.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn, man, super underrated.
No
kidding.
Man,
you're not kidding.
Don't get Landon started. He will go on.
I will go on and on about Jerry Lynn. Just his intelligence, like he has the ability to change his mind in the middle of a move and go somewhere different. It's fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Number 6, we have Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate from NXT TakeOver Chicago.
Loved it, man. Loved it. Probably one of my favorite matches.
Man, it's so hard hitting. It's just, I mean, that British, that UK style, that's only becoming more and more popular now, is just so fun to watch, and that match just encapsulates it all in 18 minutes of,
it's crazy.
Strong action.
They stole the whole damn show, man.
For sure.
Not even close.
Oh,
For
definitely did. I mean, just British wrestling as a whole has just stolen my heart. Like, I look forward to NXT UK every week. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm so glad it's
that's my
accessible.
goal for this year. Is I'm trying to get over to the UK in May, so
That'd be great.
That'd be
trying
awesome.
to get me some of that British wrestling.
It's so fun. We kind of, that episode is a little bit longer than a normal length episode for us because we kind of go in depth about the history of British wrestling and why it's so different and why it's so much fun. It's so technical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So number 5, getting into our top 5, our number 5 match is the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart WrestleMania 10 opener.
Stupendous.
It is.
No pun intended.
Number 4 is Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat from this was their Wrestle War 89.
Yeah, so this was the last one of their trio.
All right.
Number
Was it Chicago? 89 is that Wrestle War? Was that Chicago?
Wrestle War was the Lafayette was the Raging
Okay.
Cajun one. Yeah, Chicago I think was the second one of the trio.
Gotcha.
I mean, they all three could be on the list. So you know
They-
what
yeah,
I mean.
for sure.
They might all three be on the list
Yeah.
when everything is said and done. Top three. Number 3 is the one that I thought was going to be number 1 at the end of everything, and it's number 3. I can't believe it. Bret Hart versus Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13.
13. Yep.
Yeah, I was fighting for that one to stay at number 1, but here it is.
I mean,
and-
dude, that changed the game. That kicked off the Attitude Era. That was everything. I mean, just all the ramifications that came out of that was crazy.
Yeah, that's what we talked at length about, how what's so special about that one is these two men walked into the ring with one identity and came out completely different. They were fundamentally changed by that match.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Currently sitting at number 2 is Triple H versus Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 2002.
Was that the street fight?
It was.
Yeah, that was non-sanctioned.
Okay.
Sean's big sort of return match with the big sledgehammer shot after the bell. It's my personal favorite, which has been hard because it's really tough to rank these things and not be biased in some sort of way.
Of course.
But for me, I think what I've learned about myself ranking all these matches is that the stories that are told do more for me than almost anything else. And that one's got a hell of a story.
I mean, that's what wrestling is, right?
Right.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about storytelling on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Which, Landon, leads us to our number 1 currently. And I'm curious, Korey, to see if you feel like this one has a chance to be, if it should be number 1 or if you think it'll be thrown off the top spot at some
Yeah,
point.
I'm curious to see what you think. So based on the 9 that you've heard, what do you think number 1 might be? Keeping in mind that we've only done 29 matches, so it's likely that something that you think of might not be on there yet. Like, we haven't done a Rock Austin match yet. We haven't done, Rock Hogan. We haven't done any Hogan match
Well, those
yet.
are my 2 guesses.
Yeah. So sitting at number 1 on our list right now, and I know a lot of people agree with us, is Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada from Dominion.
All right, that was my 3rd guess.
Yeah.
so-
Oh, there you go. There you go. So what do you think? Does that sound like a number 1 on Corey's list?
Was that the 3rd one where they went like over an hour?
Number 4.
That was their 4th one. They did go over an hour,
Fourth
though. It
one.
was the 2 out of 3 falls.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. Man, there was some hellacious selling in that one. Man, we were just beating the hell out of each other. Was that the one where Okada goes for the Rainmaker? Kenny just kind of collapses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I mean, that was the moment for me. That's what I remember the most out of that match. So it had to do something right.
Do you think a match like Jeff Hardy Undertaker deserves a spot on the 100 greatest matches of all time?
You know what? I do, and I'll tell you the reason. Because after that match, you made a superstar who's still around, 18 years after that, who's been world traveled, been at the top of just about every company, and that really kind of solidified him on his singles run. Whenever they did briefly break him up and all of that, and he made it to the top, and yeah, so yeah, I can see that definitely being something.
I think
Not
that's
only that, but I mean, you look back at JR's calls over the years. He's got a family. By God, they've killed him. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous. Those are like the top 3 that come to mind.
You are speaking my language.
Spenser
This
Spenser is our commentary guru. He always takes notes about in our matches what the commentators are saying and why that lends itself to why we think the match is as good or better than it really is. So
Well, it speaks
Oh,
to
you must have hated Raw and SmackDown for the past few years.
There's been less and less memorable moments. That's for sure. But it speaks to your point, kind of, Korey, about how wrestling is storytelling, and when you have a good commentary team, I think that drives a story like it's supposed to. It drives it in such a positive direction and really just builds on what the guys are doing in the ring.
Right. So I mean, we're making music and they're doing the lyrics. That's what it is.
Well, I'll just get that tattooed somewhere. That
yeah,
sounds great.
couldn't say it better myself.
I stole that from JR too.
Well, listen, Korey, again, super appreciate you taking time to join us today. Again, everyone listening, go follow Korey on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. It's going to happen at some point on Twitter, but definitely on Facebook, definitely on Instagram. Again, we will drop that link in our show notes for you to follow. But listen, we're only a week and a half or so out from March Madness, your championship match against the Mad Dog Gil Gracie that you definitely earned with that Super Gold Rumble win in January. And we are going to be there to cheer you on. We are super amped for you, and we just wish you the best of luck, man.
No doubt, I appreciate it. Need all the support I can get, right?
We think you're gonna do so well. We can't wait to be there front and center. Again, that's gonna be March 1st at the LM Lockhart Center in Denham Springs. Bell time is 3:00. You do not want to miss this show. In my opinion, it's the biggest card in Pro Wrestling 225 history. Just the way the build-up has been. I'm so excited. So you can get your tickets at Pro Wrestling 225 Facebook page or email them directly at prowrestling225@gmail.com. We'll also post a link directly into to the March Madness Eventbrite page if that's the way you want to go on our Twitter page at Last Match Cast. Korey, we can't wait to be there front and center to cheer you on. We know it's going to be a great match.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate the time.
Oh, yeah. No, we appreciate you as well. And for everybody out there, until next time, I'm Spenser.
I'm Landon.
I'm the Amalgamation, Korey Konstantine.
And this is Last Match Standing.